And then we'll come back to you, so we keep it moving. Is Trump being an effective president so far?
I think Trump has done a really good job at being effective in creating scandal in the White House, and I have to be quite honest. It's a little disturbing to read articles like what just came out from the New Yorker with Ryan Lizza and some of the statements that were made by Scaramucci, who was supposed to be here but apparently didn't show up. You know, we are supposed to have some level of civility in government, regardless of what political affiliation you have. And right now, we are dealing with a Russia scandal. We're dealing with infighting within the White House. We're dealing with all sorts of chaos, and there have been no legislative wins so far. Now, Anne's right, it's been 7 months. But remember, when Trump was campaigning, he made a lot of promises about what he's going to do on day one. What he's going to do on day one. Well, what has he done since day one? I mean, he has definitely applied for more visas for foreign workers to come in and work for his properties. He's definitely done that. He has increased the cap for foreign workers to come into the country. And so he basically turned his back on his base, and I'm unsure whether or not they're even aware of that. So no, he hasn't been an effective president. If anything, there's been a lot of entertaining drama and scandal, but that's it.
Well, I was going to say, for one thing, I would not consider the Scaramucci interview the highlight of the Trump presidency so far. But I was trying to remember, can you really not hear me?
You seriously can't hear her? I'm getting a lot of thumbs up.
I know this is crazy, but I kind of want to adjust it because I mic myself every day. Do you mind if I do it?
Ooh, look at that unity already.
Here.
All right.
Here. No, it can't be on that side.
Can you throw your hair over your shoulder?
There you go.
Talk a little.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How's that working? Can you hear me? I think we're going to have to do that. What I was saying about the 7 months is when I think about, you know, before 9/11, what did Bush do? I don't remember anything. Until Obamacare passed, I don't remember anything Obama did. So yeah, there's been a lot of excitement, some of which I'm not that thrilled about, but is he an effective president? Well, how do you judge that? What did he run on? What did he promise? I think none of his supporters, maybe some of them, really just thought it would be fun to have this tacky billionaire in the White House. I think most people thought, no, he's the only one raising the issues we have been dying to have some president raise. And, you know, screw you Republicans, screw you Democrats. We're going to put this nut in the Oval Office because he will at least put Americans first and not Wall Street first. And has he done that? Well, in 7 months, he's really going after MS-13. He's attempting to prevent terrorists from coming into the country. The courts, so we're getting massive resistance from the Democrats as usual, as we got during the civil rights era. But he'll win in the end. He's interviewing for the wall. He has a fantastic attorney general. He has a fantastic head of ICE. So as for what he has promised and whether he's implementing it, I'd give him a B. I'm looking for an A by the midterms.
I want to be like Switzerland, like Gwen Eiffel here, and not take a side. But occasional things may jump out at me. Do you want to respond to that? I just want to.
If you don't mind, I would like to respond.
Yeah. But I'm just
sure.
want to.
Do you, boo?
Does the president think that he has a fantastic attorney general? He seems to not agree with you.
Well, if we're going to get into the flaws of the Trump administration, I mean, I think the original sin was something that I've been perfectly open with him and the world about. Americans don't like nepotism. I don't think he should have brought his son-in-law into the White House, and I think a lot of this has to do with him being worried about the investigation going after his son-in-law. I think he's right not to want an independent counsel. There's a reason Congress got rid of the independent counsel law. You can't just have this unaccountable roving commission looking at everything you've ever done. I understand. I feel his pain. I feel his frustration. But no, you shouldn't be, posting your own attorney general. If you don't like him, fire him. You're the president. But look, he's done. I don't think that is nearly as bad as the first thing I didn't like that he did. And it's really just about two things. And that was, one of the things we voted for, don't get us involved in any more pointless wars. And that bombing of Syria, again, I see a little nepotism issue here. I mean, the claim in the New York Times and the Washington Post was Ivanka saw some pictures of children and started crying. Oh, daddy, we have to bomb Syria. So Ivanka cried, kids died. But his base punched back, and at least we are not involved in a war in Syria. And by the way, we would have been in Syria, in Russia, in Iran, if it had been anyone else running for president, with the possible exception of Bernie Sanders. So I would say he's effective. He hasn't gotten us involved in a pointless war, and he is pretty well following through on the immigration stuff. He's pretty well following through on the trade stuff. That's all I care about. I don't care about the tweets. I love the tweets.
All right. So there's quite a bit to jump in on, but the first thing that I want to address is this.
And before we get to that, I think they both made their points. Ann Coulter has, like I said, she's obviously supported the president at that time, still supporting him. But, she had some reservations about some of the picks of President Trump. And, she pointed those things out. So opening salvos from both of them in terms of, I think, when Ann gave the grade of a B to President Trump at that time, I would probably say that, like, you're 7 months into it. He's fighting, a Congress that, yes, is Republican, but they're not conservative. Okay, these are the same moderate, squishy, wishy-washy, the Mitt Romneys, the John McCains, those types of, Republicans, the Murkowskis, those ones. And so, the Paul Ryans, all those or whatever. So, just one person, I think Trump found out that, yes, you're the president, but it's not like running a company where you get to just make the decision and it's implemented immediately. It's got to go through all these filters, all these different elements to get to the point where it can actually become, a policy and then made into law. So anyways, let's continue and see what the rebuttal is from Ana.
This notion that he is not escalating war abroad, which is completely false. So within the first 3 months of his presidency, he actually escalated some of Obama's foreign policy in the form of drone strikes. In fact, it increased 423%. We are bombing like crazy in places like Yemen. Okay, and this whole notion that, this Muslim ban is trying to keep the terrorists out of the country. Doesn't anyone else find it a little strange that Saudi Arabia, one of the countries that was obviously involved in what happened on 9/11, is not part of that Muslim ban? Right? So, I know that the right wing has been very vociferous in terms of trying to make Saudi Arabia pay some consequences for it. Trump isn't making him pay any consequences because he has financial interest there. I want to go way back to what you said about,
In the financial interest, there is no financial interest for Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but there is no financial interest.
Legislative wins and policy. When it comes to the issue of immigration, it's kind of fascinating because Obama got a lot of criticism for being soft on immigrants, right? But by the end of 2010, he had allocated $12 billion toward border security, and he had hired 40,000 new border agents. As a result, less undocumented immigrants were coming in, more of them were leaving. Between 2005 and 2010, we actually had 1.5 million undocumented immigrants leave the country, mostly because of economic reasons. The economy in Mexico was starting to do a little better and people wanted to leave. So there were wins when it came to Obama. He did do things, and he got a lot of criticism from the left when it came to his immigration policy. But the reality is Donald Trump hasn't done anything yet other than attempt to ban people from some Muslim countries and pretend like he's a tough guy. In reality, he's not a tough guy. He hasn't succeeded in anything, and healthcare is the latest example of that.
The reason, again, in terms of the healthcare debate, is with Paul Ryan and the other Republicans. Look, they all want, they're all looking for some type of government program, government subsidies, a government implementation of the continuation. Even the Republicans, although they say, we want to go ahead and repeal and replace, they had so much time to go ahead and start the right, just like the Democrats had done with Obamacare. But did the Republicans do it? No. So Trump puts him in charge and says, let's go ahead and repeal, replace, start the process. And he's getting sabotaged by Ryan and the other Republicans who never did anything to try to really do something to really gut Obamacare and come up with their own version, their own plan of Republican reform. There were people that were out there that were giving them some great ideas, but Ryan and the Republicans didn't want to implement any of that at all. So to blame that on Trump, I guess you can say, okay, he's president. You get the credit when credit is due. You get the blame when blame is due. The buck stops with you, obviously. But 7 months into it, when you basically say the first 3 months, or like the honeymoon period, the first 100 days, what he had done in those 7 months, I think was good enough to start, and at least starting off with, guess what? They talk about the Muslim ban, whatever. Folks, come on. It's a nice way of coining it. Those were countries, in terms of where their vetting process for their citizens to try to vet them because they wanted to leave, was absolutely crap. And we didn't have enough resources in those countries to vet these people properly. And the places that they were coming from were huge hotbeds of anti-Americanism, democracy, anti-Westernism. These were these were the footholds of where Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other terrorist groups, were functioning and working and having camps out there. So yes, putting those 7 countries on there, and basically saying that's the same countries that Obama had in terms of not issuing passports visas to. So all Trump did was take the same thing and add some enhancements, and boom, you're calling that a Muslim ban. Unbelievable. Each and every single day in the news. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your guest host. My name is Dr. Nasir. Like, share, and follow us. Hit that subscription notification bell. I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.